It's a beautiful baking day, Cookie Crusaders. Today we're going to be using the Divine Honey Cream Crown New Treasure. At level 5, it gives a percent of 18.4 of crit boost and 25% crit damage increase to the cookie that has the highest attack power. In this team instance, it's going to be Caramel Arrow, and what we're going to be doing is testing this versus Robes versus the Scythe, as the Scythe gives critical boost to all cookies on the team, as a passive, where this is a charged option that gives it to one singular cookie. So we're going to test it and see how it does. Obviously, a level 12 will have a little bit of different results comparatively, but we still wanted to test it to see how it does and how it works. I will go over the toppings in a moment. We're going to just go ahead and hit against the team the first time and see how it does. See what the damage output is, see what ends up happening altogether. So, as we go forward, we've got good damage coming out. We don't really have a lot of team survival. This team isn't really built for team survival. It's just built to boost Caramel Arrow as much as possible. We got critical boosts coming. We've got boosts from Financer. We've got boosts from Oyster with critical percentages and damage. We've got the Crown New Treasure boosting as well. So just so many different boosts to try and push the damage as high as possible. So it's an interesting setup. Not necessarily one I would recommend as a strong PvP setup team, but it's definitely an interesting one. As you can see, it's down left to the healer that they have. So we're going to be comparing how it does and how it fares against other different treasures. So that match went on for a minute 22, and Caramel Arrow did 5.1 million damage of the entire setup. Not bad. Definitely outpaced the entire rest of the other team. Was able to keep up. There was some pretty good healing from Cream Unicorn on their side, but overall, it was a good setup. Let's make some changes real quick. Let's go ahead and do different toppings. So we'll put attack toppings instead of speed toppings on Caramel Arrow and see if that makes a huge difference. I believe everybody else is running cooldowns except Cream Puff, because Cream Puff always does good with the critical toppings. If we had enough power of attack on Cream Puff could be the target, but Oyster is actually a higher attack power than Cream Puff is just naturally. So we can't really go in that route at this time. So we're going to go ahead and shift to the attack toppings, and we're going to see how this fares with that same setup. And then we're going to go through and move to the speed treasure with the robes, and we will also check the Scythe as well with both setups to see just what really happens and how it works, and if it works. The fun part about it is that you get the critical boost from Sparkling, which has basically burst healing. You get crit percent increase from Oyster, as well as crit damage increase. You get the attack boost from Financer to Caramel Arrow, as well as the shield. And so it's an interesting ploy together all the way. Now, this time we took away the attack speed toppings and we moved to just attack toppings. Caramel Arrow actually didn't survive. So the lack of speed means that the animations and the overall setup on the team didn't end up working. Financer obviously survived longer, so that's why Financer's damage was higher, but Caramel Arrow still did a good amount of damage. There wasn't necessarily a lack of damage there. It just wasn't enough to take out the team that we were fighting. Now, keeping the same setup, we're going to move to robes. We're going to see just what's different, if it works, and the comparison between the new treasure. Yet again, the new treasure is not level 12, so we can't give a completely accurate view, but it's still something good to look at and view and see what's changing and what's different. So as you can see, we still lost Sparkling and Oyster in this setup, so it's not helping protect them or keep them alive much longer. But we do take the kill pretty well with the attack toppings. So let's look at the damage. And only 2.8 million, but that's because the match went very quick since the attack animations were so well done. Now if we move to the attack speed toppings with that same team setup, we go back to this, the animations should be so fast from Caramel Arrow that hopefully it obliterates the entire team before even ours ends up taking too many casualties. So we'll see if that does end up happening here. We still do lose Sparkling, and we just barely lose Oyster, but we do not end up losing Cream Puff this time. because our animations are pushing so quickly that their units just didn't have much of a chance. Oh, I take it back. Vampire had a free revive, so Cream Puff still was taken out. But same amount of rough time, same amount of rough damage. So that didn't necessarily make a difference of the toppings, but the robes did help with the speed. So we're going to change one more time to the scythe, and we'll see how that makes a difference. Okay, so Scythe's going to critical boost the entire team, which may actually put us at a point of overkill because we have Oyster and we have Sparkling, so we may go 100, 110%, maybe even 115, just because of the monument that we have as well. But that means criticals should be guaranteed on almost every unit, including healing units. So, should be an interesting setup. And let's see how it does handle. So we've reduced speed, we've reduced attack power from other units, but we have raised the critical bar overall. Their vampire is still alive, still doing a pretty good job. It's a tight match. We still take it, but not by much. That one, there was a pretty good chance for us to lose for that. So it lasted almost a minute, so almost double the time, and we did 4.1 million damage from Caramel Arrow. So Caramel's still taking the lead, no doubt. But the match did take much longer. So the robes and the new crown treasure, they were able to perform just a little bit better as far as timing. But we will go one more addition. We will check the attack toppings, and we will see if that makes a big difference with the scythe and for the timing of the battle too, if we can end the match quicker. Because sometimes if you don't end the match quickly enough, you get to those markers like the minute marker where damage is increased, and then things become really complicated because skills might match up at different times where it might be more in favor of the enemies. So you got to really consider how that lines up and how that works, and if it's going to be in your favor or not. So moving back to the attack toppings, we do end up still taking the win, not as tight this time. We still took some heavy casualties, but not as tight. And overall 3 million damage at only 45 seconds. So I think the best way to look at this is that the Cream Crown is going to be stronger than Scythe. But you need to specifically build the team to think about it. Because let's go ahead and take it one more time just to show you. That was 45 seconds, 3 million damage for Caramel Arrow. And the Cream Crown is going to specifically be activated on Caramel Arrow here. So it's going to be in favor of only that cookie instead of crit boosting everyone else. It's going to be crit boosting Caramel Arrow and crit damage increasing for Caramel Arrow. And we'll look at time and damage, just like we did with the Scythe. And as you can see, we've got only 2 casualties so far. And I believe, no, we did not lose Oyster that time. So yet again, a rematch, because crit damage does matter. This time it was 49 seconds, 2.8 million on Caramel Arrow side. But Oyster was able to live longer, so that worked out for that favor. So the way I'm viewing it is that the Cream Crown treasure is not necessarily like a massive replacement for Scythe in every situation, but I do believe in the setups where you are focusing on one cookie to do the most amount of damage, it's going to do it really well. So an instance where this could be beneficial to you would be like a scam team, because maybe you're setting up a traditional scam team where you get Kumiho and Ginger Brave and Caramel Arrow, which I've seen a lot. So like this is a traditional scam team that I've seen used quite a lot. So you could do a setup like this where you stun out the enemy, charm them so that none of their skills are activating, remove any shields, that's why Dark Cacao's there, stun them because of Sea Fairy, and just deal a massive amount of damage from Caramel Arrow. However, in this instance, I do believe that Sea Fairy or Dark Cacao might take the attack lead. They won't. Okay, if you run attack toppings on Caramel Arrow, she'll still get the Cream Crown. So that's another setup you can try to use this for, where I've seen a lot of people either do speed or scythe or things like that. And you could combine it. You could do something like this. Like if you're running a team like that, you've got speed, you've got critical power, critical damage increase. It's going to be pretty deadly. It's going to be pretty strong. So I think it's a great treasure. At level 12, I'm definitely going to start using it. I don't want to use it right now in the PvP arena because I'm such a high stake points in teams, so I can't viably put it in as competitive in the top 5,000. But at level 12, I will be. At level 12, I will be putting this into specific teams, and I will be running it in competitive arena at that point. So I do find it to be a fun treasure. But I'd still like your opinions and thoughts and feedback. Is it something that you want to run? Do you think it's just kind of treasure, or do you think that it's something that's pretty cool? I mean, I know it's definitely an unexpected treasure, but I think it's a pretty cool treasure overall. But I'd love your feedback in the comments and any opinions that you have too. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.